With all eyes on CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk 2077 after the release of Studio Trigger's Cyberpunk Edgerunners, player counts have been sky high, with many new players downloading the game for the first time. With this influx of attention in players, there's also been an influx of new mods hitting the scene. Here's a list of mods, some new and some old, I think greatly enhanced my second playthrough of Cyberpunk 2077. You might be familiar with some of them, but some just hit a couple days ago and you don't want to miss out. Let's start out with gameplay mods that are going to improve the difficulty of Cyberpunk 2077. The first mod that I really want to talk about isn't for everyone, but oh man, did it really shake things up for me, especially in the early game. Hardcore 22 by Courtlong50 seeks to make Cyberpunk a little more hardcore. Reminiscent of mods like Project Nevada for Fallout New Vegas, Hardcore 22 basically increases the amount of damage all weapons do, while decreasing the amount of health you and your opponents have. He who shoots first wins. In my experience, I really had to rely on chroming up if I wanted to go full cyber psycho and mow down tons of enemies. Mods like Second Heart become pretty important in keeping V alive. Now, there are some things to note. This mod makes some pretty big changes to weapons and armor, which means you're going to want to make a new save. All weapons become level 45 and clothes lose all of its armor, meaning only implants and mods will grant armor now. Uninstalling the mod won't delevel your weapons either, so you're either going to have to buy new guns or play from a different save. While the mod isn't perfect, notably bosses will get wiped out pretty quickly, with some of the other mods on this list, like SDO, you can make a pretty challenging and engaging playthrough. I mentioned it earlier, but SDO by Scissors is a great mod with lots of flexibility in changing the difficulty of the game. With options like changing how quickly NPCs can shoot you and how they react to a silenced weapon fire, as well as an option to allow V to become staggered by hits, you can really make things hard for yourself. In tandem with Hardcore 22, the early game can be brutal before you get chromed up. One stray shotgun blast can get you a shitty drink made at the afterlife. Sensible Stamina and Athletics by RMK is a simple mod that increases the stamina cost of basically every action in the game. In base Cyberpunk, your stamina depletes incredibly slowly. There's almost no point in having it. V can basically run 4Ks in his sleep. With this mod, however, stamina becomes much more of a resource to balance. While it doesn't go crazy, turning V into some total chump like Escape from Tarkov, you're not going to be able to run around with an LMG unless you invest some perks in stamina management or some cybernetic implants to increase your lung capacity. Let's move on to gear. The newest mod to come out on this list is a must download if you're a Chrome junkie like me. The incredibly simple but amazing Legendary Cyberware Collection by TI200. What does it do? It adds legendary variants of every implant in the game. Some of the implants, like the Kuroshi Mark III, just gets up-leveled to Legendary, but some mods get a brand spankin' new upgrade, like the Reinforced Tendons, providing 30% fall damage reduction, or my absolute favorite, the Legendary Titanium Bones, now offering an additional 100% carrying capacity. These new legendary implants will help you even the odds with some of those gameplay mods that I was talking about earlier, but they don't come cheap. Reinforced Tendons alone will set you back 84,000 eddies, so you better get to gigging. With all this chrome implanted, it doesn't make sense that V looks so Ganic. This next mod seeks to fix that. The Cyber Arms Collection by Alvarix PT. You're probably familiar with the Arasaka Cyber Arms mod, and while that mod is great, allowing you to change the appearance of your default and implanted arms with various styles, there's not as much variety as I'd like. Not to mention, you'll have to reinstall the mod anytime you want to change your arms up. It should be noted that the Cyber Arms collection isn't compatible with male Vs currently. The mod author is working on adding that functionality, but if you're playing as a male V, definitely stick to the Arasaka Cyber Arms collection. The Cyber Arms Collection allows you to buy all the arms you could dream of, straight from the vendor. Now, there's some catches with the mod. The arms take the place of either your outfit or your outer chest slot. If you choose the outfit file, the arms won't work with the new transmog update. If you choose the outer chest slot, transmogs will work, but you'll be limited in the outfits you can put together. Additionally, there's only support at the moment for both arms being replaced. The mod developer is working on implementing left and right arm outfits as well as workarounds for the transmog system, but it's not quite done yet. All of that being said, if you're using the Hardcore 22 mod from earlier, it actually doesn't matter what clothes you wear, since none of them provide armor bonuses anymore anyways, so you can just throw it onto your outfit slot and change your clothes the old-fashioned way. If you still want left or right arm control, full wardrobe control, and transmog, you're going to have to stick with the Arasaka Cyber Arms, but you should keep your eye on this mod for sure. You're probably all familiar with the virtual car dealer by now, but just in case you aren't, it's a great mod that lets you buy lots of variants of the cars you see around Night City right from your computer in your apartment. All you got to do is download the mod and some car packs and you'll be draining the eddies from your wallet in no time. The cars work just like any of the cars in your list and have eddy and street cred requirements to keep things fair. You'll still get annoying calls from fixers trying to convince you to buy their rust buckets, but you're not going to have to wait around to get a decent ride when you start the game. Rounding out the list, we have some miscellaneous mods to improve your immersion and quality of life. You might have seen this one around already, but the GTA Travel mod by Keanu Wees works way better than I thought it would. While it does clip a little in certain areas like mega buildings, it's a great way to fast travel while you enjoy a beautiful view of Night City. It's pretty easy to ignore some of the wonky clipping too, and occasionally you get a beautiful transition. If you travel a really far distance, you might still get a loading screen, but usually you'll get to go right back into the action and not have a loading screen at all. Real Vendor Names by DJ Kovric is a very simple mod. You get vendor names on the map. That simple. If the vendor has a unique name, it'll pop up on the map so you know which Ripper or clothes vendor you're looking at. It doesn't always work since not every vendor actually has a unique name, thanks CD Projekt Red, but a lot of them do, and it can help cut down on some of the needless Googling. And the final mod on the list is Weather Probability Rebalance by RMK. By default, Cyberpunk 2077 is way too sunny. Canonically, in the tabletop game, the weather of the future is pretty shit. Acid rains, dust storms, and smog are the norm, not sun. While this mod doesn't go overboard making the game too stormy and gloomy, you're going to see a lot more of the other weather patterns much more often and for a lot longer. Well, there's my list of some mods you may or may not have seen before. I hope these inspire you to do a second playthrough, and if you're curious about what other mods I have, I'll put the list in the description. Just keep in mind my load order is a little bit messy. I download a lot of mods and sometimes I forget to uninstall them. But it should be stable, probably.